We're working on Ali Chat, which is an Angular CLI front-end application with an ASP.NET Core Web API backend using SignalR as the data transfer layer. What we're doing today is we're going to be working on the chat client for the application. The way that this application works is that it takes in messages from a variety of RSS sources. At the moment, the ones that I support are Discord, Twitch, TCP, and WebSocket. And then it will route those messages based on the rules that you program into the app. It also includes a currency system and a command system. So let's go ahead and take a look at where the chat client currently is at. So on my Angular app, we'll do an ng serve to start the app. And over on my backend, we'll go ahead and start it up. Yeah, I think it's a pretty fair offer as well. I'm going to go ahead and get it right after the stream today. So this should start up my server as well as my web app. We need to wait for this to host down here. Looks good. So we'll give it a login. This redirects me over to my auth server, so we'll log in again here. And it takes me into the app. So here, this shows me the number of visible chats, and also it wants me to select the string when this loads. And then if I say like 4, now I should be able to load a string here. And if I was to send a message here in this chat, I don't think send a message works at the moment. Yeah, it doesn't have everything at the moment. So let's take a look at the chat component here. The first thing that happens when we load the chat component is I request the streams if I'm connected. And if I'm not connected, then I'm going to initiate my OAuth, and then when that subscription happens here, we're requesting the streams here. So what I want to do is I want to have on my chat component something called loading, which will be a Boolean. And on this down here, I'm going to say a loading equals false. And then down here, we're going to do a this.loading equals true. Like that. And then up here on where we have the stream subscription, we'll say loading is equal to false. And now what I need to do is inside of my HTML, I need to make sure I have the NGX loading in here. So if I look at a feature branch under bots, I have one up here I can use. This should be inside of a map card, correct? So if I look inside of my app component, I have a number of chats here. For each one of my chats visible, we're going to have an app chat, and that's inside of a map card content. So inside of my app chat, I'll add this inside of a map card. And now I can bring in my feature branch bots loader. They also made it in a way that you can use 2019 on 2017 and 15 projects with no issues. They demonstrate how you can use C# instead of JavaScript in ASP.NET Core 3.0. That's awesome. Sounds like they added a lot of good features. So let's try it again. This time I should have some loading modules. So this is not invoking here. So why wouldn't this invoke? So it's loading, and now it's working. So if I was to log out and log in again, this never showed my loading here. So I need to have an on connection event. So when I look at my server, my hub, over here in the web API, when I connect down here, it's called check connection asynchronous. And here we're passing back received application user. So that means that up here I'm going to have a subscription called application user subscription, called a subscription. And we need to unsubscribe that in here. And then in here we want to have a this dot application user subscription, and that's going to be equal to a, let's move this thing just a little bit more like that. It's going to be equal to this dot, and it's called your web hub dot get application user dot subscribe, and this is going to be your application user, which is a type of I application user. And we'll just do this. So let's go ahead and launch it again. Good. And now it's working. And so now this doesn't quite send a message yet because I don't have enough information. On my chat component, I need to have not only a stream ID, but you are collecting the information about all of the streams, so that's fine. So I need to know which bots are in the stream. So that's going to be a list of bots called bots, and it's an array. So when we receive my streams subscription, I have a stream selected here, which is invoked on change, right? I wonder if I could just do this without the declaration. I want to look up real quick how to do a cast Angular TypeScript. That didn't like me. So we'll just go back to what it was because I believe that was working. We can go ahead and stop this thing. We don't care about that. And then here, I need to have another one of these selects. So we have a message button here, and this is your enter message. This is your send message, and here we want to have a, and it was called a mat option. So I'll copy this in here, and this is going to be called a bot stream bot dropdown, and it's going to say select the bot, the outbound bot. And this is going to be for a bot selected, which we can make over here as a string called bot selected, which is a string. And we'll also have a selection change called bot selected, which will pass in an event any. Sorry, this is called a bot ID up here. So that we'll say that this is a bot selected. And then for each bot of bots, my value is going to be bot.id. And I want to pass in my bot dot provider dot, and we want to do that one dash my bot dot application user dot, and do I just want it to be username? You have username here. Hey there, Abweez. How are you doing? Welcome to the channel. If you have any questions, what I'm working on, please don't hesitate to put them into the chat. Thank you for that support and that follow. Okay, let me try my phone. Okay, so now that we have that, we need to request our bots. So let me go back over into the TypeScript, and I'm going to say that this is a alert called bot selected, and I want to do an alert here of my bot select this dot bot selected. Okay. So now on the back end, I need to have a new command in here called a public asynchronous task called request bots for stream. And we'll say bots outbound for stream. And in this one, we want to pass a GUID for my stream ID. And now we're going to go ahead and just copy this. And in this one, we're going to say, this is my bots for stream get. Okay. And now here, we're going to do a different one. We're going to do a read bots for stream asynchronous. And this is going to be a GUID stream ID. Read bots outbound for stream. Right here. And we can pass in my stream ID. So now if my bots do not equal to null, then I can do a receive bots outbound for stream, and we can pass in the bots. And that's easy enough. Okay, and my services, I need to implement that, which was here, called a public virtual asynchronous task of a bot DTO array, called read bots outbound for stream asynchronous. and that's going to be a stream ID and a GUID for my application user ID. So we can copy this, and I want to first get my stream. Like this. And we also want to say where my application user ID equals application user ID and that. So now if my stream is not equal to null, then I want to get my my context.bots.where my well, now what I want to do is I want to get each one of the routes context.routes.where my stream ID is equal to stream.id and it's active. And where it is a outbound. And then here I could do a include for my bots. And then down here I could do a select for my bot. And we want to include bot.user, bot.user. And if I look up here, we've got user.provider. And then a user server. And this is going to be called bots. And then what we want to do is we want to say our DTOs equals a new list of bot DTO. And we'll do a bots, a for each var bot in bots. I'm going to do a DTOs.add a mapper.map to a bot DTO of my bot. And then we'll return the DTOs.toArray. Otherwise, I just want to return a new bot DTO of size 0. And I wonder if I could just do that and make it a little shorthand. No. Okay. So now when I rebuild this, I have no errors. So now back on the front end, what I need to do is look at my web hub. And up here at the top, we need to have a couple of subscriptions. The first one is called a bots received for stream. And that's going to be a new subject called iBotArray. And then since we're using SignalR, we need to write our receipt down here. So on my receive bots outbound for stream. I'm going to have a bots, which is a ibot array called bots received for stream, and we're going to pass in bots. Okay, the next one is down here. We need to have a well, it's above the authorizes. We'll do it right here. We'll say request bots for stream. And in this, we want to pass in a stream ID, which is a string. And here we're going to invoke this one and pass in my stream ID. That should be it for our communications. So here, when we are getting my stream selected, we're going to join the stream. We're going to leave the stream if we're in one. And then you want to do a this.webhub.request bots for stream, and we want to pass in this.stream ID joined. And then up here, I want to have a bots for stream received subscription, and I want to unsubscribe that in here. And then we need to subscribe it in my constructor. And it's called get bots. Oops, looks like I missed one. In my web hub, I forgot to add in the get bots for stream, which is an iObservable of a bot array. And we want to return my bots received for stream. So this is get bots for stream, and we want to subscribe my bots as ibot array. And then I'm going to do a this dot bots equals bots. And here we can do this as a this dot loading equals true. And then up here we could say this dot loading equals false. And we can go ahead and give the app a run. Did it hang up on me or something? Unclosed MAC card. Not sure what that's talking about. Well, that's what it was talking about. Okay, it looks good. We select a stream. It's going to request my bots for the outbound stream. And if I look at this, I receive 4. Now it didn't map anything. Because a bot DTO needs to be but you're doing this right above it here. So let me look here at what's happening when we do this again. This time when I look at bots, it didn't include user. So instead of doing it like this, we're going to do a routes. And then I'm going to do a for each var route in routes. I want to get my bots equals await my context dot bots dot where my ID is equal to route dot bot ID, right? And it is active. And we want to say application user ID is equal to application user ID. And then we'll move these down like that. We'll move my DTOs out here. Oops. And actually, I could drop it 2 more lines like there. That looks pretty good. Now this should be mapping correctly. Let's try it again. When I look at this time, it didn't map all the stuff again because you forgot to do the includes. Do it again. Okay, this time when I look at my DTOs, it's filled everything up. So now when I look at my outbound bot, this is good. It shows me which one of the bots I'm going to be sending this from. So now, let me check one thing here. I want to do a test message in my Discord. I should have received that here, and I did. Looks good. So over here, we're going to move this up. Above this one. Like that. So now when I go to my stream and I get my bots, and I go, okay, I got my bot here, and I do a test. When I send that, we're going to create this message here where my provider type, I don't know what that is. My provider name, I don't know what that is. My server source, that's going to be the server that the bot is in. So on this one, it's going to be every channel that the bot is in, right? So just a second. What that means is, if I look over here at my web API on my models, we're going to make a new model here called a bot stream server channel. We'll say a bot stream VM. And on this, we're going to have a couple of different things. The first one is a group. Just a second. Somewhere down here I have a currencies drop-down currency stream. These don't have groups. Yeah, it's right here. Bot data of bots. So we already did this one in here under my receive bots. We're creating this route bot create VM. Okay, so down here, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to say var is disabled equals false. And then I'm going to do a well, we don't care about the is disabled. We are going to have the and then what we're going to do is I'm going to do a new list of these VMs here called a var bot stream outbound stream VM. And this is going to be on it a new bot DTO, which is called bot. And then on this, we want to have a number of these. So let me now make another one called bot outbound stream channel VM. And on this, we want to have a channel DTO called a channel. And we want this one to be inheriting from bot outbound stream VM. We need to have another one here for a server VM. Okay. So now in here, we're going to say bot outbound. We're going to just say VMs equals a new list of bot outbound stream VM. And then for each one of my bots, I want to say VMs.first or default s where my bot.id is equal to bot.id. And we're going to say that this is called a VM. And so now if my VM is equal to null, then I'm going to create one. And then we're going to do a VMs.add my VM. And then otherwise, I want to do a VM dot. And now if I look at these, we also need to have on here a if I look at this, we have a server name and a bot. What I need to have in this is the channels. So when I look at this again, I'm going to do this as a bot VM. So I get more stuff. Because now I should also get a provider and a user. And what I want to get is my routes, right? So let me change this to be like this one. I know that's not going to work either. Okay, so what we're going to do is I have to take a short break. I'll be back in 10 minutes. Thanks for staying with me. Enjoy the music. And if you have any questions, great time to put them in the channel. See you guys in just 10 minutes. Don't touch that dial.